What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Kofi Kingston, aka 1/3 of the New Day. You're not gonna say it with me, sir? Yeah, come on, you better participate. Let's try it again. 1/3 of the New Day, and you are watching The Young and the Wrestlers. Ha 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 ha.
Welcome to the Young and the Wrestlers, the Pop Culture's WWE podcast, the show that takes a look at the soap opera nature of the WWE. That's storylines, that's characters, that's where we have fun. Essentially put, we mark out. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Betson, alongside
Bayley. Yes, it is. I'm Jem.
This is our Raw and SmackDown in review. It comes at you every Thursday morning at 8 a.m. on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you want to join that wrestling conversation, you can by heading over to twitch.tv/The Pop Cultures, where you can watch us record this show live. You can get in the chat and have a bit of fun with us. It's the best. It's absolutely the best. If you want to support the show, you can. If you're listeners on podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. Or if you're on the YouTube, give us an old like, a comment, maybe even subscribe. You know, it's a bit of fun. I'm really doubling down on that bit of fun thing, aren't I? Yeah, it's fun. It's fun, I tell you. It's fun.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to support us financially, patreon.com/thepopculturist. And, of course, our merchandise store, popculturist.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. Jem, how are you today?
I thought of something amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why it didn't click, but when you said 5-star rating and you went like this, I was like, 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, 5-star rating. Good old Booker T style.
We might have to bring it in. Like we've got the Kurt Angle rating system. We might bring in some Booker T.
The Booker T 5 stars. I don't know why I thought of that, but I'm proud of it. I'm not proud of my intro there though. That was terrible. You're welcome.
We got a lovely comment here from J Love BESM. Sure. Because I've always loved the parallels between WWE/wrestling in general and the Young and the Restless. That's why we're here, Jay. We talk about that soap opera stuff. Even we had someone write into the show and ask us to list our top most soap opera-y moments. We are compiling that list as we speak. It's a little bit of research involved, so we're getting that together because we want to do a ripper list. So it's still coming. Still coming. But how's your week been, man? Before we get into all the wrestling goodness.
Just getting myself ready for this job. I had like a pre-employment physical at the start of the week, getting my police check and stuff done, just keeping busy. How about you? I'm
good, man. Like this week has been rough. As you can see, I'm wearing my lovely new WrestleMania 36 shirt. So I did a new shirt order recently, 2 in fact. I did 1. And then Craig's like, I want shirts. So in order to save on postage, I bought some more.
I don't blame you.
Postage is poo. But good news, Jem. So we'll add this into my Ryan Get Less Fat update. For those who don't know, I have been in going along a weight loss journey since the start of the year, January in fact. So as of right now, I've lost like 24 kilos. Which is mad.
Yeah, you have.
And on top of that, that also comes with clothes benefits. So at the start of the year, I was a 4XL, and this is an XL.
Fuck yeah.
My pants were a size 44. Awesome. They are now a 38.
Hell yeah, they
are.
Hell
yeah. So I pick some
proud of you, man.
As I say that, I'm going to pick some tacos out of my teeth.
No, that is so awesome, man. I am so hyped for you.
So I bought a bunch because the bunch of the WrestleMania shirts were on clearance because WrestleMania kind of went really quickly and no one really thought about it because, you know, pandemic. I was like, well, that's an $8 shirt. I'll buy that $8 shirt. And I'll buy it in the size that fits. So I got 2 different WrestleMania shirts. I got an iconic shirt. I got this Ronda Rousey shirt that I wanted. It's just rowdy in the Rowdy Piper font. Yep. I got Keithley, fucking Keith. I got, limitless lead. The one that does his big pose on the back. Love it.
Yeah, love it.
That's went crazy, man. I really shouldn't have, but I totally did.
You need new clothes, so it's worth it.
Oh, yeah. I needed new clothes, man. I needed it.
Yeah.
It wasn't a matter of I wanted, it was a matter of I needed to fit in these clothes. Yeah. But let's get into the show, Jem. As we do every week, we're going to kick things off with SmackDown. Then we'll head into Raw a little bit later. Now, for anyone that is new and does happen to come across this show, probably should do this every week because it's a good idea. If you do happen to stumble across this show, as we said at the beginning, we love the stories, we love the characters, and that is what we talk about here on The Young and the Wrestlers. We do discuss matches and how they evolve, but we don't critique or review matches. That's what every other podcast does. For us, it is characters. It's so proper. It's silly. So we engage in our own version of kayfabe. We pretend it's all real, and we play along with it for that exact reason. So we're going to discuss what the characters, what the wrestlers are thinking, what their actions are, what their motivations are, and what that means moving forward. That is the best part of it for us. So we're going to kick things off with... And sometimes we fantasy book. Like, if you go back to our payback one, we fantasy booked the living shit out of the next, 12 months. But let's kick it off with one of the biggest things to happen this week. That was on SmackDown. And as the name of the episode suggests, we finally happened, Jem. We had Bayley turn on Sasha Banks. Give us a quick rundown of what took place on SmackDown, and then we'll get chatting.
So Bayley and Sasha had a rematch against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, I believe, for the titles. Which
Shania Payne won.
Yeah, Shania Payne won. They did. Yep. Which, it was a killer match.
That's a tag team comment, by the way. Yep.
Yeah, no, absolutely killer match. This time, Nia Jax got the win with a double lateral flex on both of them. Pinned both of them for the 1, 2, 3. Now, during the match, Sasha had injured her shins. She went to do the double knee, double shin things on Shayna Baszler on the outside of the ring, clocked them straight on the ring post. So she was in pretty big pain, and Baszler took advantage of that, absolutely obliterated it. So they both lost, obviously, and what do you call them? Officials were helping Sasha, and she's screaming, "Get away from me," and all this other stuff. And she's trying to get out, and Bayley looks like she's helping her. And then all of a sudden, Bayley just attacks, and viciously. It was, I messaged you when I was watching it, and I was like, bro, this is making me feel sick, because she didn't let up. She was slamming chairs on those damaged shin, the
and her face.
Yeah, and then on her face, jumped on the chair. There was only one official that came out. I'm like, where is everybody? This is ridiculous. How is nobody out here stopping this? It was, I haven't seen another woman beat somebody up like that in a long time, and it actually made me feel sick. I was like, oh my God, Bayley, what is wrong with you? In saying that is not at all the way I expected it to go.
Yeah, okay.
As we spoke about previously. Yeah. Well, as we've previously spoken, Bayley seems to be the one consistently losing. It was made a point in a pre-match interview that every time Bayley has met Shayna Baszler, she's tapped. And that's 3 times in a row. And, Sasha obviously straight to Bayley's defense. Bayley's the best women's champion, longest reigning, yada, yada. And yeah, I was honestly expecting it to go the other way. Obviously, Bayley taking the loss again, Sasha cracking the shits, and Sasha doing the damage. But no, this time, Bayley, I don't know what happened last time. Obviously, we know they had a feud in NXT as well. Very similar circumstances, but I don't know who was the attacker. And I'll have to go back and look at that, because I said, this was so vicious. Bayley wanted to end Sasha. You could tell. And I don't know, it just made me feel sick. I was like, ugh, what kind of human are you? How did it make you feel?
I loved it. It was awesome.
Yeah.
This is something that we have been sort of speculating on for a while. Where does this go? There's been these the hints that we've seen, little subtle things in Sasha Banks' body language that has been leading to this. And as you said, it was looking like it was going to go the other way. However, I am so glad that it's gone this way for a number of reasons. And I think the first one being is that Bayley has always been perceived as the weaker of the two. If it's Sasha and with Bayley in tow, like Alexa and Nikki, right? You know, like it's the same thing. It's Sasha and Bayley. But what we've been seeing recently is Bayley, in fact, being the stronger one. So since having her change and sort of dropping the hugger persona or the character that she was at the time, we've started to see what could possibly have been the real Bayley, and maybe trying to go that one direction has led her to become stronger. She's the longest running SmackDown champion. You know, she didn't lose the tag titles. You know, Sasha had the tag title. She had the Raw Women's Championship. She lost them both. Wait, no, I think Sasha may... Take that back. I think Bayley may have tapped for the tag titles. She did.
Yeah, Bayley did, yeah.
My apologies. I was wrong.
It was like it was a group thing, yeah. Because remember, Sasha tweeted, she's like, I didn't tap.
That's right. I had to quickly correct myself there. But my point still stands. I think that was great. Because, you know, right now, I think this is what's needed. Like having Bayley when she did originally turn and become the Bayley that we know now, the role model, she was hesitant. There was uncertainty. She was struggling with she was having difficulty
growing pains. She
was having difficulty getting what she wanted out. So there was a lot of that sort of uncomfortableness at the start. But what we're seeing right now is we're seeing a woman who is comfortable. We're seeing a woman who is showing genuinely who she is. And I think these actions reflect that. I think what we saw here was a long build-up against Sasha Banks. You know what I mean? Like there is a history. There is a long history between them. You know, good and bad. Yes, they were best friends, but they'll have also been each other's worst enemies at some times. You know, there's a lot to take into account here. And, you know, since Josh Robinson came on here and we had a big old chat, you know, when I was originally poo-pooing Bayley, I'm like, I poo-poo heel Bayley.
Yeah.
Boy, was I wrong. Josh took me to the other way, and I'm not looking back. I think this is the best possible way this could go, and I think Bayley fucking deserves it. From what where we see sort of Sasha's influence. And especially recently, you know, she put her title on the line. In jeopardy. My apologies. She put her title in jeopardy.
Yeah.
So it's a tough spot. I'm very happy with it personally. In terms of our to touch on the fantasy booking we did about 2 weeks ago, it's in line. Our original goal was, I reckon, come WrestleMania, we're gonna get Bayley versus SmackDown. That's right. It takes the whole fucking SmackDown. Bayley versus Sasha for presumably the SmackDown Women's Championship, and I think for the, you know, with the injuries that Sasha has sustained, she's going to be out for a little while. We are not going to see her, which is going to give Bayley a good sense of accomplishment, a sense of pride, and maybe a little bit of ego, and we will see her destroy whoever is left in the women's roster right now. On SmackDown. Just fuck them all up.
And then do you reckon Sasha will come back bigger and stronger, or do you think Bayley's reign will continue?
I think Bayley's reign will continue for a little while, but I think Sasha will return because she can't just go straight into the
No. She'll hold off in an ambulance. She's out for a while.
Yeah, when she's going to come back, she's got to at least somehow earn her way for that title shot. She ain't fucking Roman Reigns, all right? She can't just come in 1 week, have a title shot the next. Maybe she can. Yeah. But...
just hire Paul Heyman, apparently.
Next thing, you know, she becomes a Heyman girl. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, while he's there, he might as well manage 2 people. Look, if Tully Blanchard can manage 2 people over at AEW, why the hell can't Paul Heyman do it over here? But
exactly right.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So it's a little while. She's gone. Yeah. She might come back. Originally, one of the things I semi-predicted was that maybe we would see a fantastic Bayley versus Sasha Hell in a Cell match. We might see that, but maybe not for the title. See, I don't know. I'm trying to work out how we're going to get there. Or maybe the title changes hands for a little while, and then it goes back, but I can't. I personally want to see Bayley retain for as long as she can, and then we sort of make that transition.
Yeah. There's going to be some way that Sasha's going to interject herself into that picture, and how she does it, I don't know, but it's going to happen. But I think she's going to lay low for a little while.
Jay in the chat adds, also Reverend Puck says hello from the American Insomnia Land. What's up, Puck?
Hello.
Jay, I think Sasha was the heel in the attacker in the first feud on NXT, which makes sense because I think Bayley came out the victor in that NXT feud, especially that brilliant match at NXT Brooklyn. And then he also adds, "Can you imagine Heyman with Sasha?" Let's have some fun with that for a little while. What do you?
Right.
Let's have fun with this, Jem.
That would be amazing.
Sasha Banks becomes a Heyman girl. There is a little faction with Heyman, Roman Reigns, and Sasha Banks.
Yeah.
So how do you think this would go? Tell me about it.
That's interesting. That could be very interesting. I mean, this could tie into something that happens later, which I want to touch on as well, because we do see a little snippet of the Firefly Funhouse, and Bray Wyatt just says, he's sad that his, as in the Fiend's favorite toy, has been taken, but they're going to have a guest on next week's Firefly Funhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously Nikki Cross is watching on, and Alexa Bliss comes up with her new hair with the little dreads and stuff in it,
Totally
and immediately she immediately looked like somebody who would have been part of the Swamp, part of the Wyatt family, right? So immediately I was like, it's totally Alexa Bliss. She's going to be next week's guest, right?
Yeah.
And Rambling Rabbit's hanging out in the background. Now, obviously, because there's still that whole thing of the Fiend wanting that title back, I don't think it might not happen this quick, but like we said, fantasy booking. Could you imagine if Bray Wyatt has Alexa Bliss in his corner, Roman Reigns has Sasha Banks in his corner? What do you reckon? They've got something there.
That would be mint, and then we end up having this mixed match, mixed gendered match. Oh, I was wondering where you're going. I'm like, where's this setup going? And you've got a cool idea.
That's where it's going. Yeah, 2 birds, 1 stone right now. So yeah, imagine, I said, fantasy booking.
I would like to see that. There is that minor issue though, when it comes to what we're looking here. So the big question here is, with Sasha gone, are we going to see her come back with new hair and maybe her old purple hair when she was old face Sasha? Do you think that's what we're going to see? Do you think we're going to see Sasha essentially get some fucking chair sense brought to her, and then we'll see her be on the other side? Or will we see her come back meaner and stronger, and then get Bayley to see the error of her ways?
Yeah, see, that's tricky. I feel like Sasha's going to be jaded by it, but she's... yeah, see, that's what's tricky is, I feel like she is going to come back on the facey side of things. She's going to come back, but you never know either. We expected when Sasha came back, she was all she had the purple hair and everything, and she was all I'm still the same Sasha Banks. And then she turned a couple weeks later and ripped the wig off and stuff. And yeah, it's hard to say, could it be a momentary thing? Who knows? But I don't know. I feel
if anything,
somehow making that happen would be cool. Because
under that process, we could have Paul Heyman with Roman Reigns and Bayley. Maybe Bayley can get a little bit more oomph. Imagine if Heyman is sitting there managing both men and women champions.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Would be gnarly. That would be a lot of control for Paul Heyman. And now both of them can speak. Both of them are good mouthpieces. So Heyman wouldn't need to do his usual mouthpiecey business for Brock, but he can help them. Not that Bayley needs that help right now. I think probably a little while ago she could have needed that assistance. But I think by having Sasha with
not
her,
having Sasha, yeah, exactly it. Not having Sasha there now, I feel like Bayley's going to lose a lot of that spark. So she could take from someone like Paul Heyman.
I think you might be right.
Look at that.
I'm not saying it's going to happen, but we would like it if it did.
That's what fantasy booking is.
Yeah. But I think that could open up a lot, because you said we've really enjoyed Bayley, especially with her Chris Jericho-esque insults and shouting and just yelling at people.
Oh, I love it.
You big idiot.
Calling people
love it.
Stupid idiots and stuff. You stupid idiot.
Absolutely love it. Love it. All right, let's let everyone ponder on that, because there's a lot that can happen between now and our presumed matchup of Sasha versus Bayley at probably WrestleMania.
Yeah.
What? Oh, okay. Here we go. Sasha's out. Sasha's gone. She's out. She hasn't come back till, I don't know, say Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
Surprise entrant. Fucking
surprise entrance. Wins the Rumble.
She comes in, takes that takes that win and then just points fucking directly at Bayley because she's there for some reason. You know.
Yeah, she'll sit ringside. She's arrogant like that. Yeah, she'll sit at the announce desk or something. Bayley's arrogant like that,
and
so that's gonna
Sasha's
happen.
looking at Bayley like, I'm gonna bite your face off, and then that's what.
Yeah, I'm gonna bite your face off. Well, speaking of champions, let's have a quick chat about the tag team champions because there was tag team matches tonight, but no sign of Shinsuke and Cesaro.
Yeah.
The only sign we saw of them was right before Sasha and Bayley's match. Is they had like a little snippet talking about like how they believe Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are like Mack trucks, like, you know, barreling down the highway, and the analogy about cars and Sasha and Bayley being like little speedy ones, and Shinsuke's like, oh, there's going to be a crash, and Shinsuke makes a joke about something that happens like later in the night we'll talk about, or earlier for them. And he's like, that's so insincere, like you saw what just happened. And then they're like, but either way, no matter who comes walking out of this crash of a match, they're welcome in the Champions Lounge. However, like, they're not defending the titles. Like, it's got me mixed.
I have a big thing in here, and I need to get this out, and I don't think I can hold this until we start talking about Raw. Can we do it now?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we can do it now.
Shinsuke and Cesaro rock up on Raw this week to challenge the Street Profits for a match next week.
Yeah, for the quarterly cross-brand invitational.
What if, Jim, what if this means that we are getting a tag team unification again? What if they are removing, like, in the same way that the women's tag titles are unified? Unified. It's cross-brand. What if we get the same here? How many times can we watch the Street Profits versus Zelina's Boys?
Andrade and Angel Garza. Yeah.
Or how many times can we see it happen over on SmackDown? Like the rosters are getting smaller and smaller for some reason. I don't know what they're doing, but right now with a lot of competitors not attending due to COVID or whatever.
Yes. Trying to stop the spread.
I kind of think that this is a good idea, and we've seen,
which we've discussed.
In the last 12 months, we've seen the redesign of the United States Championship. We've seen the redesign of the Intercontinental Championship. I think it's time we do a redesign of the tag teams.
Yeah.
So why not take advantage of it? Bring them together.
Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure there used to be a thing. It was like a cross-branded.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, there was like it was a black belt with a copper. Same logos, with the same Roman-esque design, gladiator design.
Yeah, because it'd really make sense, especially like you said, with the rosters being so smaller. Yeah. And we're seeing like tag matches, we're seeing repeat matches. Like, there's superstars there. Like, for instance, what I was leading into was like we saw Heavy Machinery compete for the first time in months. We know these guys are amazing. They should be in a tag title picture.
They should have those belts.
Exactly it.
Fucking Otis needs to pull the plug. He needs to use that money in the lunchbox and get the tag titles. Maybe that's what will happen. Maybe he will use that to cash in for those unified belts.
Saying, like, can he, like, he's allowed to go for any championship. Can he cash in for the tag team champions and bring Tucky with him? Like, this is something we've discussed because that's something that I don't think has ever been done before, which would be awesome. So, like, you want to see new things like that happen.
What I would like to see is if they do have this unification match, and say they have it at Clash of Champions, makes sense. It's a pay-per-view entirely about championships. Yeah. What if they combine it? So it's Cesaro, Nakamura, and Street Profits. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Or they have a big sort of like 4-team tornado tag or something. Then that's where they win. Everyone's beat to shit.
Yeah.
Heavy Machinery music comes in, cashes in the lunchbox, gets in, and they become the unified tag team champions. That is a great way for him to use that contract. That's a great way to have those belts going. Otis is amazing, and he and Tucky would be great if they shifted across brands. Yeah, because I would love to see them versus the Viking Raiders. I would love to see them take on the Street Profits. I would love to see them take on Zelina's boys. Like, we've seen them take on everyone at SmackDown. Let's use this briefcase to advantage.
100%. And like this week just showed it because they had a match against Miz and John Morrison,
which we've seen 1,000 times at this point.
That this match, yeah, exactly. But they did say this match could lead to contendership for the titles. Like that's something that Corey Graves said as the entrances were happening, and it was an amazing match. Like there was this really like it was just phenomenal. It's something you've got to watch, but. I couldn't help but laugh. This is what I love about Tucker and Otis. They've got personality. Like with Miz and Morrison, it's a forced thing. It just does not feel organic. With Otis and Tucker, it does. And so John Morrison stole the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Beefcase.
And disappeared.
It was technically a Money in the Bank beefcase. There's a lot of snack foods in there.
Because they get backstage and the Miz is like, you can't keep that. Like, it's got his name on it. And he's like, that doesn't matter. And he opens the case and there's like a stapler and some cotton tips and a sandwich. And Morrison's holding it. And Miz is just like, well done. You stole his lunchbox. And Otis, like, before this, Otis was backstage with Tucker and Tucker's like, I can't find it anywhere. And Otis is like, it's fine. I don't keep it in that box. And he pulls up the little lunchbox that he's got going and the paperwork's in there.
I need that lunchbox. I'm just going to do a quick check of the WWE shop
it's
so I can buy it.
Cute. Money in the lunchbox. I love it. But yeah, like I think the funniest part about that whole thing was Morrison went to take a bite of the sandwich and Miz is like, don't, and he just puts it back in and he's like, I don't care, I'm keeping the briefcase. That was a little bit funny, like don't get me wrong, but with Miz and Morrison, it does feel like a forced
oh my god, you can literally buy it.
Yes.
Oh, clutch my pearls. I'm buying that shit. And the picture literally has like just a bunch of meats in it.
That is so cute.
Oh my god, I do need a new lunchbox for work. What can I say?
Yeah, definitely.
Put my man shakes in there and my yogurt and my harvest snaps.
Well worth it.
I need a reason to buy this.
Oh, I'll get a harvest snaps. But yeah, that was that whole thing. So, I definitely think at this point, because the rosters are so diminished, I feel like, the match between Cesaro and Shinsuke versus Street Profits is going to be next week on Raw. Mm-hmm. However, I think, like you said, it's going to lead into something bigger, push into Clash of Champions, and hopefully we can see some unified titles. I think that's the best direction to go now. It'll make for better competition as well. So.
Yeah, and I do hope we get a bit of redesign as well. I think the belts need it.
Yeah,
they have been that gladiator design for a very long time. Yeah, even when they were unified before, it was the same design. They would much appreciate a redo. Hopefully, it's not as hideous as the United States Championship with a little secret dick in it, but we cannot guarantee there won't be dicks in it.
Yeah, exactly right. But yeah, so that was a thing. I mean, speaking of like championship belts and stuff like that, let's have a chat about this whole Sami Zayn thing.
Yes.
Because like Sami, the best way to say it is like Sami's living in a state of delusion. Like he thinks just because he sent back a fake belt that he's still the Intercontinental Champion. Like that's not the way it works. Your title was put on the line because you weren't able to defend it. It was won by somebody else. Like it's gone, buddy. Like you are not the champion, no matter how much you carry around your belt and you try to force people to say like, he cracked the shits about his intro. He's like, it's supposed to say like Intercontinental. Why didn't you say that? And it's just like, it's not in my notes. So he steals a headset and he talks to the truck and he's like, why? Like you put that on my decal? No, why? Because it wasn't in your notes. He's like, oh, I'm seeing a trend here. I should have just asked. Like, I'm the champion. I am a generous champion. Like, I'm a fighting champion. I'll give you a chance. And he's like, no, but I'm the real champion. Like, that's just a fake belt, rah, rah, rah. And then AJ Styles comes out and he goes, look, guys, we all know that I'm the real IC champion. I'm just not crowned right now. And it's just this dumb, like, they're bickering like children. It's hilarious. Don't get me wrong. And then, Jeff is just like, AJ, like, if you're feeling good, if you're recovered from our match where I beat you for this title, like, let's let's have a rematch. And then AJ attacks Jeff, and then Sami Zayn joins in, and then Jeff attacks AJ, and then Sami Zayn gets a haluva kick and then grabs his little belt and runs off, because that's what Sami does. But
he did. He
yeah,
did that
I
for
just
4
want
months. He ran off for 4 months like a big old scaredy cat.
Yeah, exactly right. And he's like, do you know, like, I can't for the life of me figure out what's going on in Sami Zayn's head, like how he can think that he's still the IC champion when he's not. Like, is this going to lead into a triple threat match because they all want the one belt? Is like, who's going to step in and like mediate this, because there's 2 IC belts running around.
We had 2 United States Championship belts for about a week. Like, it's interesting that they're having the exact same problem on the opposite brand for the exact same mid-card title. The fuck is going on with these double belts at WWE right now?
There seems to be a lot of repeats, and we'll talk about that on Raw as well.
We will. We'll get to that shortly. But look, I'm in the same boat as you. I don't know what Sami's thinking. I think he needs a bit of a swanton bomb, and that'll like knock some sense into him. Like,
he needs a shave. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's looking very rugged. And look, I can't judge. I'm a big dude. Well, I'm not so big dude, but I'm a big dude. And I'm just gonna say, Jack looks a bit tight, Sam. Yeah. He's had a good time in Canada, eating them poutines. Poutines are really amazing, by the way. It's just chips, gravy, and fucking cheese. All the things that are bad for you, and it's amazing.
I had a chip and gravy roll the other day. It was amazing.
God, I miss all that food. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, the other day, because
I felt disgusting afterwards, so like it wasn't that great. Like, man, I felt vile, but it was great while I was eating.
The other day, I drove past the kebab shop. I'm like, oh, I could murder a HSP, but knowing full well that I could not stomach that anymore. But I thought I wish I could. Yeah,
you'd literally shit yourself instantly.
I would just die. Like God, I want to eat one. So let's talk about anything else.
Yeah, but like this, it has me interested because I have a feeling this is going to lead into like a triple threat match. But at the same time, it's just, I mean, having Jeff Hardy there is new, but like AJ and Sami, like it still feels very, very repetitive. Like there's got to be somebody else who could be in the mix. But at the same time, like the more Jeff Hardy I see, the better. Like the nostalgia just gets the better of me, and I'm just like, yeah, give me Jeff Hardy. Like watching him pop a twist of fate on AJ Styles is just like my favorite thing to watch. It's always been one of my favorite moves. Like,
have you been following the wrestling news this week, Jem?
I have not.
On a episode of Talk and Shop with the Good Brothers, they did a Patreon exclusive episode with the Young Bucks, and there was mention.
Hell yeah!
There was mention that the Good Brothers were meant to debut originally, if they had agreed to the contract that they were offered back in the day, that they would have debuted on the first episode of Dynamite with another individual who is currently still under contract. And let's just say it would have been too sweet, maybe even phenomenal.
Oh,
they alluded very heavily that AJ Styles they were in talks with AJ Styles, but WWE just demolished their offer. But yeah, he also allegedly contacted the Young Bucks saying, "Look, thank you so much. You know, what I was offered wouldn't have happened if it weren't for you." So what would have been amazing would have been the Good Brothers coming in with AJ Styles, and then just like boom, Bullet Club reunite. And then Dynamite.
Yeah. The only club that matters.
Instead we got them. We got that. Instead we got the OC. So really should have taken that deal. Follow them. But WWE were just throwing money. They were throwing money out there.
They were doing anything to keep their superstars locked down, and I don't blame them. Like, you want to keep them around, just fucking pay them more.
Yeah.
Like, that's simple.
The only other person that could have been Finn Balor, in terms of like because they discussed about being a Bullet Club reunion.
The new NXT champion.
Oh, spoilers! But that's awesome. I haven't watched it. I was meant to watch the.
Oh, sorry! I thought you saw his Twitter.
No. I've been trying to keep quite quiet because I haven't watched I wanted to watch the hour Iron Man match from last week as well, and then just sort of do both back to back because I knew that there was a match on NXT of Cole and Bella, but I hadn't watched it yet.
Yeah.
So. Cool.
Sorry.
No, I'm not even mad. That's a great outcome. It's a great outcome because
it's going to be an amazing match. Like, you have to watch it happen.
It'll be mint, and then that leaves Adam Cole and the Undisputed Era to come up and get involved in this unified championship.
Yeah, and we've been talking about this, so
Yeah, next thing you know, they are suddenly maybe that was the thing. Maybe that Undisputed were like we don't know what we don't want to know what was it. Sorry.
Something happened on Raw that we're going to talk about as well, so it's perfect timing.
Yeah, so maybe there's a situation they're like, maybe we don't know which brand we want to go to. They're like, well, what if we put the belts together? Then will you come play? They're like, maybe. Yeah. And then Jay in the chat says, new champ, baby. Yeah, then Adam Cole gets in the title picture over on the main card. Maybe gets himself a mid-card title for a little while, then maybe gets himself up there.
With like the IC or something. Yeah. Get some new challenges in there. Loving it.
I just gave myself like excitement.
Ooh, I know. Ooh. My God, fantasy bookings all the way. Speaking of fantasy bookings that are now not going to happen, there was supposed to be a fatal four-way tonight for the number one contendership for the Universal Championship.
Yep.
Now, it was supposed to be Big E versus Sheamus versus Matt Riddle versus King Corbin. Now, Big E's backstage with Loose Party Group Drew Gulak talking about the return of Xavier Woods, who will be hosting Talking Smack later in the night.
Looks like he's finally been informed,
also his birthday. Yeah. And it was his birthday, and they had a cake and everything, and security comes in, and it's just like, hey, I hear Xavier Woods has turned up. And they exit out a back door, and Sheamus Big E viciously, bashing him into a car, leaving shit out of him, throwing him against the garage door and stuff like that, and eventually drops him into the windshield of the car. Kayla is obviously at the scene with all the Kayla Braxton, the interviewer, backstage with all the EMTs and stuff who are tending to Big E, trying to get him off of the car. You see them putting him on a board and wheeling him away, and they believe he has, she states, major lacerations and possible internal damage. So Sheamus suddenly shows up. Of course he does. He has to be around to watch his carnage. And Kayla's like, did you plan this ambush? And he's like, ambush? I don't know what you're talking about. He just came out here and I did what any smart superstar would do, and I took out my opposition. Like, he just came into my space. I was defending myself. And then he's like, if you'll excuse me, I've got to go get ready for this fatal four-way. And then he's like, actually, maybe it's going to be a triple threat match. And I was like, oh, shit.
Don't worry, Jem. Our fantasy booking of Big E versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania can still happen. If anything, it's just made it more likely.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to have like a Big E mania, like very Kofi style. Like, he's going to constantly be beat down and beat down and beat down.
Wrestle E mania.
Yeah, Wrestling Mania. So we do see Adam Pearce, and he's questioned about what's going to happen. He's like, look, Big E can't compete, but we're going to find him a replacement. And in all of this, we did see Paul Heyman earlier in the night. Paul Heyman comes up to Adam Pearce and asks for a word privately, and they walk away. Later in the night, we come to find out that Jey Uso has been introduced to the match. So earlier in the night, Jey Uso ran into Roman Reigns and is like, hey, we're proud of you, yada, 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 but why are you stonewalling me? Like, why haven't you called me back or anything? It's like, oh, look, man, I've been busy. And yeah, so we find out that Jey Uso, in the picture this evening, is now in this match, this fatal four-way. Come to the match. Matt Riddle comes out first. King Corbin comes out complaining, as he always does, like, this is BS. Like, how does he just get thrown in the match? Bloody Jey Uso, where? Entitled King Corbin. Riddle's sick of it, so he goes up to attack, and then Sheamus comes out to attack, and then Jey Uso comes out to attack, and eventually we get to the match. In the actual battle rings, not the scuffle. And obviously we have that beautiful moment of finishes with like a deep. Love this. Matt Riddle has a move called the bro to sleep, which is a play on the go to sleep from CM Punk. I love that.
Yeah, so the bro, he's got the Broton Brom, the bro Derek, and the bro to sleep.
Yep, and the floating bro.
And the floating bro, of course.
Yeah, and I haven't heard the bro to sleep yet, so that was a little bit like a kick in the nostalgia for me. I was like, I love it. But yeah, beautiful whole thing. But absolute killer was like, Matt Riddle gets the floating bro on King Corbin, I'm pretty sure it was, and then immediately as he hits the ground, Jey Uso flug splashes right on top of him. So Riddle hits, Uso's right on top of him. 1, 2, 3, Jey Uso gets.
I never get bored of watching the Usos.
Number one contender.
I never get bored of
I
Usos
know.
splashes. I love the Usos.
And it was so good because you haven't seen him in a while.
No, because the other Us is off injured right now. Jimmy is injured, so Jey was kind of sitting on the side here. And I like where this is going. And I like the... So this is a situation, as they said, this is cousin versus cousin. This is the Samoan dynasty working, against each other for that title opportunity. And as Mad Dog in the chat says, big win for Us.
Big Us. And even he's like screaming, I can make the family proud too, like you'll have to watch because you're about to get locked down. Welcome
to the
Usos. You know the rest. Which was great. I love that. And even Brave said it, he's like, will Roman Reigns get locked down?
No.
And I was like, this is going to be
if anything, he's going to kick the living shit out of a family member. That's what we're going to see.
Exactly. And I think it's going to be a family.
And this is that path that Roman has to take. Like Roman is, it's essentially a decision of you want to be this guy, you want to wreck everyone and leave or wreck everyone and win, then you need to do whatever it takes at all costs. And Heyman has... Yeah, and Heyman has lined up that opportunity where, as you said, he needs to solidify this. He needs to lock down his decision. And if this is the person he wants to become, he needs to take out everyone. So when it says wreck everyone, he means it. Family, friends, you name it. Whatever for the pursuit of that end goal. Yeah.
So this obviously leads into the start of the night. We do see Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns come out first. And Paul Heyman's like, both of us were just thrown into obscurity, just tossed aside. And he's like, I didn't corrupt Roman Reigns. He corrupted me. He pulled me back from obscurity. He pulled me out of the darkness. He brought me back here. And this entire time, Roman Reigns is just staring into my soul, dead down that camera. I couldn't look at him. Every time I was staring at him, I was like, ugh, you're just stabbing me in the chest.
Unrelated, but also semi-related. I just accidentally opened. I didn't accidentally open Twitter. I opened Twitter to double check on something. There's a post here from Last Minute Wrestling, another wrestling podcast. Who goes, so currently this is likely to go down as a triple threat at Survivor Series. Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, and Finn Balor.
Ooh, that would be so cool. That would be crazy. I'm all for that.
Oh, I'm all for that. I'm all for that.
Yeah. But yeah,
but we have to get to there first, and that's with Roman.
Yeah, exactly, and that's where this is.
Sorry, I distracted myself.
No, it's totally fine because obviously Roman Reigns is that big formidable force in this whole picture at the moment. We'll talk about it on Raw, but Drew McIntyre solidified himself as well. We'll have a chat about him later. Yeah. Paul Heyman is just as always, just he's vicious. He was actually looking real emotional. He looked really he was really digging his teeth in and saying some mean shit about WWE and the universe. And he even went as far as calling Michael.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go first. You were saying
that. So this was the promo that they had in the center of the ring, and Roman was eyes locked on that hard cam,
not moving.
Heyman, holy shit, Heyman's got it. I don't know what it's amazing.
Like I said, every time he speaks, there's so much emotion behind it, especially when he's in the ring. Like, you can hear it in his voice, the way he starts to like shake and stutter. It's powerful.
So Craig and I are watching it together, as we have been on Discord. We've been having shared viewing parties of the wrestling. And we're watching, and we were talking, and then we went, oh, and then we just didn't talk. We were just
silent. And that's what it's like with Paul Heyman.
So good.
Yeah. That's what Paul's great at, and that's why I'm glad he's back. The interesting thing about this, though, is Paul Heyman says, I serve as the special counsel to the tribal leader, Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns goes as far as saying, this is my island now. So it's no longer the big dog and the big dog's yard. He's the tribal leader, and this is his island.
Big Samoan.
So we're seeing like a Messiah complex, but altered. So, yeah, exactly it. But yeah, this is like obviously leads into like when Jey Uso runs into Roman out the back. He's just like, what's the deal with Heyman? Like, do you trust him? And Roman's just like, look, don't worry about it. I've got this. Like, it's secure. Don't worry. And then when Jake gets put in the match, he says to Roman, he's like, thank you. And Roman's like, don't thank me. That was all Paul Heyman. And he's like, do you trust him? And like, Roman just doesn't really say anything. So for me, I was a bit, what's going on here? Like, is Roman just playing here? Or is there something going on? Like, I don't know. It just felt very, there could be something else working here. But I don't know. I'm probably speculating.
Yeah, look, I think it's a good speculation because it's that question: do you trust him? And then he didn't say anything. It's a weird space. I like this change in his descriptor. Like, we didn't get the usual, the reigning, the defending, the undisputed. He didn't do Paul Heyman didn't do the standard fair for what he does for Brock Lesnar. So like this.
He did a little bit.
Oh yeah, but then
he did mention reigning. Yeah, but it was
he set it up and then changed it. So the real question, Jem, do you think this will lead to a redesign? Like we've seen the change in shirt, we've seen Roman remove the bulletproof vesty looking thing. It's just a t-shirt and the cargo-y pants. Do you think we'll get a completely different look? Do you think we'll get a new theme? Do you think we'll get a new removal of the big dog?
Yeah, well, it's already started. Like Paul Heyman said, special counsel to the tribal leader. And then Roman Reigns said, this is my island. Like, clearly he's changing that up. And I feel like, we didn't see it at Payback. Like, there's no...
But we'll see it at Survivor Series. Get it? Island?
No.
Island,
yeah, but no Superman punch, which I think is a big thing.
He hasn't Superman punched anyone yet.
Yeah, exactly right. So I do think there is this shift in persona. While I think he's going to keep the same theme because it's still a very heavy, very aggressive. It still fits that mean guy theme. Plus, I feel like there's going to be a change in movesets. I feel like there's going to be a shift in Roman Reigns to make him more vicious for sure.
Like, it's this weird thing. I don't think that they will change the music, mostly because there is a visceral reaction that comes when you hear that. Burn it, burn it. Like, you just can't, something here, and you go, ugh.
You feel it.
Yeah. But that's because our brains have been trained after hearing it for so long to go a particular way. Yeah.
And it works. It just works both ways. It really does. So it's really interesting. I'm excited. Like this week, like SmackDown was solid. You could say it was blue collar solid. You're welcome.
It was horrible, but I'll take it.
I was waiting.
How have we been working on that for? Like, I don't know, I was up to about 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah, I've been sitting here this whole time.
Just chipping away at it.
No, I absolutely love it. But yeah, like that's SmackDown this week.
Yeah, man, it's a pretty tidy SmackDown. I really enjoyed it personally. I had an absolute fucking blast.
It was so good. Yeah, I agree. Like there honestly wasn't much that disappointed me. The only thing that was really like, ugh, was that video with Shinsuke and Cesaro. That was it. So
So,
yeah,
Jem, we have to
overall,
ask the question, using our not-so-patented Kurt Angle rating. So we rate everything by 2 Kurt Angles, because Kurt Angle looks like a thumb. So we get Kurt's, and we get bars. So we can rate it on a, on an appropriate scale. Jem, how do you rate this show in Kurt Angle?
I'd give it 2 thumbs up, man.
I'm in the same boat. Look, we're not critics here. We just know what we like, and you know what I like? Fucking 2 Kurt Angles. That's what I like. I had a blast, man. I really enjoyed this week's SmackDown.
It was so good.
I enjoyed it way more than Raw, but we'll get to that in a minute. But
yeah,
it was really good. I liked the turn. I liked the matches. I liked the promos. And then knowing that there might be some unification-y things gets me like, I enjoyed it, man. I'm a bit like
it's left you wondering. There's so much fantasy booking.
That's it. I'm a big, like I said, we're big marks. That's what we do here. And for me, there's a lot of story stuff in this episode of SmackDown. There's a little, like, as we said last week, there are little threads here that could go far if they want to. And I hope
and
they
especially
pick up
after
those
2
threads and see where it takes them.
pay-per-views. Yeah, like after 2 pay-per-views, one after the other, and having just like a couple of weeks there of just full onness. It's tidy, it's clean, it's what I want to see, and it was just
it's nice.
It was enjoyable from start.
Yeah, and like the 2-hour time frame just is better. 2 hours of wrestling is better. Like that is what we need. It's tight, it's compressed, it hits like there's only so many stories. It's beautiful, it's great, it's fantastic. Let's move it on to Raw. Actually, before we do that, let us know what you thought of this week's episode of SmackDown using that Kurt Angle rating in the comments below or the social medias. Now, Jem, I've actually debated. So, Cameo, as you know, you purchased Cameo from me for Big E for my birthday last year. Kurt Angle does have one, and it's a business one. So potentially we could be like, hey Kurt, can you, if we pay you some money, will you give the Kurt Angle to our Kurt Angle ratings? Will you approve that shit?
Oh my God, yes! Kurt Angle approved Kurt Angle ratings. Let's look into it. I 100% am down for that.
No, I'll get in there. I'll get him to be like, hey, this is Kurt Angle. You're from the Young and the Restless, and I give this to Kurt Angles.
Kurt Angle's approved. I love it.
All right, let's get into Raw, Jem.
We should probably start with the whole tag team debacle thing. Obviously, like as you said, we saw Shinsuke and Cesaro come over for the brand-to-brand invitational that happens quarterly, apparently, which is just a fancy name.
Used to be weekly, and then it suddenly started whenever we wanted, but now it's quarterly, I guess. Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, fuck it, wildcard.
Yeah, so as we discussed, we saw another fucking rematch of the Street Profits versus Andrade and Angel Garza. But this time, Garza comes down. Yeah, he goes to do his entrance with Andrade, and Andrade just walks straight past him, and so does Zelina. And I was like, oh, he's in trouble for last week.
Yeah, so for context, last week, Angel Garza, when confronted with retribution, he peed himself and ran away.
Yeah, claiming that he was trying to protect Demi, whatever her name is.
And then he also fucking dissed her too, which was even better.
Yeah, and he did a runner on her. So immediately throughout the match, like, Andrade is like, you have to prove you're loyal to us again. You get in the ring first, you start the match. So Garza starts the match, and he like slaps Andrade to tag himself out at some point. And Andrade's like, hey, what are you doing? Like, you've got to prove yourself. And he's like, whatever. So like Garza, like Andrade gets in and does the match, and Zelina and Angel are like arguing, and Garza gets off the ring apron and is like, stop it. He's like, whatever. Like, him and Zelina are having at it. And then Andrade comes over and he's shouting at Angel Garza as well. Like, what are you doing? Get back on the apron. I'm trying to tag out here. Like, let's. And Garza's like, stop yelling at me. Don't yell at me. Like, you need me. You're nothing without me. And they're like, just, like, pull your head together. Like, Zelina's like, pull your head in. We're a team. Like, what the hell are you doing? Zelina looked really fine again this week. Mint.
That's it. Alexa Bliss does it for me every week on the SmackDown. Yeah. And Zelina does it for me every week on the Raw. It's nice. It's good being there.
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly right. Everybody's gonna have their own candy. but yeah, Andrade, like Angel Garza just walks out. And obviously in this whole kerfuffle, that opens the Street Profits up to get the win over Andrade because Angel Garza leaves and is like, see, I told you need me. You're nothing without me. And, you know, Zelina's like shouting at him and they leave. And this is what brings in Shinsuke and Cesaro. And they come out and they're like, you know, we want to show you what real champions look like and all this sort of stuff. And they challenge champion versus champion match next week on Raw. And they try to pull the whole like we want the smoke thing, but they get stopped by Dawkins. It's like, whoa, copyright, fam. And he talks about how like Dawkins talks about how like he and Montez are family. They're not just fam. He's like, I call a lot of people fam, but he is my family. And he's like, you two are just slapped together. And Ford goes on to say, Cesaro, you've had so many partners. You should probably go get us an STD check, man. I was just like, oh, shit. Like, so good. So good. And yeah, he also calls them the Bar 2.0.
That one I got to talk about. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, the STD thing was great.
Oh, I've frozen.
But yeah, they obviously accept the challenge. Yeah, the Street Profits accept the challenge and they go to say we want the smoke and Cesaro stops them and Shinsuke butts in with it. And it's just a bit dumb on their behalf. But, you know, I'm interested to see what this is going to lead to. As we discussed, we're hoping this leads to a unification.
If it does head down that direction, I'll be very, very happy. I guess we'll find 100%. Out if it does, but I ain't mad.
One thing I do want to bring this into, though, is something that I want to eradicate, a little bit of eradication. And that's the 24/7 championship.
Oh, yeah, it's done.
Yeah, it's so done. We saw R-Truth talking to nobody.
Jimmy.
And then
his invisible friend, Jimmy.
Oh, yeah, little Jimmy. I forgot about little Jimmy. And yeah, at a restaurant, and then Akira shows up with his ninjas and fails to ambush.
Yeah.
And it's just dumb. Like, it's so done. Like, they need to, like we keep saying, take it to underground, turn it into an underground championship.
Let it get punched and broken, becomes a new hardcore belt. That's what it should be.
Yeah, a new hardcore title. That would be perfect.
Or scrap it and then replace it with the new underground title. It's
exactly
done.
It, because especially with what we saw in Underground this week. Like, holy crap. It was announced that after last week, KO and Aleister Black, Kevin Owens and Aleister Black would have an Underground match. Now, obviously you see Shane McMahon come to the door talking to security. KO comes up and him and Shane are like, hey. And Shane's like, look, man, like, let's put everything behind us. Water under the bridge. Like, it's cool. We're cool.
Previously they had a match. Whoever lost got fired. Suck it.
Yeah, exactly. And Shane McMahon suddenly back and
on Raw, he got fired from SmackDown, so it's okay.
Oh yeah, that's true. You know, KO's just like, you know, I'd love to say it's nice to see you, but you're still a jackass. I was just like, yes, KO. And Shane's like, that's all right. And Kevin's like, do you mind if I? And Shane's like, no, let me. And he opens the door for him and wishes him luck and everything. And yeah, like literally the whole of Underground was KO versus Aleister Black. Every segment was like Aleister Black was facing somebody first and he won. And then KO came in and just every segment was just them ripping each other apart. And it was amazing.
Yet they kept cutting away and then it would be like 20 minutes and they'd come back and they're still fighting. I'm like, that's not possible. Like, they'd be dead.
Yeah.
So I really I understand that they're wanting to do something here and show something great, but give me the full match, Black versus KO, none of this extra bullshit.
Yeah.
Just do it, and that's what needed to be done.
You could tell. Yeah, like you could tell they were getting exhausted. Like you could see it throughout the whole thing. Like it definitely sort of kind of lined up, but kind of didn't. But yeah, at the end of it, they all bash into that really big tall guy with the dreadlocks that's been smashing everybody.
Yes, the guy that come in and grabbed that dude's dick the other week and yeeted him with the crotch. So, you know, old dick grabber came in and decked them both.
Yeah, he ends up just, you know, no contest because he beats them both. So that was a bit disappointing. I was hoping for a resolution here. But, you know, it was awesome. Obviously, like, Riddick Moss and Dolph Ziggler were there as well, just cheering on the sidelines, and there was a lot of like bashing out in the crowd. But honestly, like I think it was really cool because it's really solidifying that like, you know, Underground can be the place where like rivalries get settled, like without the stipulations of a standard ring match.
Yeah, where blood feuds go.
Yeah, exactly it. And I love that. Like we said, it's like a fight club. Like it's just that's the whole like vibe of it, and that's like I love it. Like I love to see KO and like Aleister Black repaired. He's not his eyes not covered anymore, so he's clearly recovered, which is awesome. But it was so good to see them like just, you know, none of the theatrics from either of them. Like no fancy theatrics, fist fighting, and it was awesome. It's nice.
Yeah,
to see
like
something
one
different.
complaint I'll still have about Underground. Pardon me. The cuts gave me epilepsy. They
Should be a whole own segment.
Yeah, it should be its own segment. And even then, the level of cuts from different camera angles, so it gave me epilepsy. It was just too fast, and it really took a lot of the impact away. Because it felt like I was watching a Bourne movie.
Yeah.
In order to hide all the punches, they cut it really fast, and it makes it look shit. Makes it look motion sicknessy. So if they did a little bit less that, if they held it on, even if they held a tight shot, and they just let them like smash into the ground, like do the camera shaky and stuff, that's fine. But they just need to like not cut to so many angles.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
No, I definitely agree with that. What should we talk about next? Maybe we should discuss our girls.
Our girls?
They're not so iconic.
Oh, yes. So, for context, ladies and gentlemen, as we discussed in last week's episode, where we were almost brought to tears, the Iconics were in a match against the Riot Squad, where the loser, the losing team, would be forced to separate. The Iconics, in fact, lost, putting both Billie Kay and Peyton Royce into singles competition. Our hearts were broken. But then when I saw Peyton Royce's name on the screen, I was like, I perked up. And then I noticed she was versing Billie Kay. I got sad again.
Heart sank. Yeah.
Also, new music for both of them.
Yeah.
Peyton has a new, sexier entrance.
Little move thing. I loved it. People have been complaining about it on the socials, and I was like, that's cute. I thought it was fun. Obviously, like Billie Kay still did her whole thing, which I still think was cute, but it was nice to see them have their own entrances. But my God, this was a hell of a match. One thing that made the Iconics so iconic was like Peyton was always like the better fighter, and Billie was the better mouthpiece. Like she's just an amazing mouthpiece. And like they obviously get into a scuffle. Like Peyton's just like, you lost last week, and she's like, really? Like, and like Billie slaps her, and then Peyton slaps Billie back, and Billie's just like, come on now. Like just the way it was said, it's just, I love Billie Kay for that. Like she's so funny. But both of them showed that they are vicious fighters. Like it was a hell of a match. Like they are both going to be amazing as singles competitors. I definitely think obviously Peyton is going to be the standout from it all. But it was a really cool match. And it was like, I got a bit teary at the end of it because Billie's obviously laying on the ground all beat up and stuff like that. And Peyton picks her up and just cuddles her. And I was just like, oh, it's just a bond you can't break.
Yeah.
Like,
that was, I found that really quite nice because it was a situation of, are we going to see, Peyton's beat into Billie afterwards? And
are we going to see a Sasha at Bayley?
Thankfully, that wasn't the case. We still see them have that friendship, that deep friendship, because they talk about them being friends since high school, and their goals were to wrestle together at WrestleMania.
They debuted in
they
NXT 5 years ago.
Yeah, so 5 years ago they debuted at NXT, and then the last year they had a WrestleMania match and they won, and they became tag team champions at WrestleMania. They had an exceptional run together, and as Aussies ourselves, we are big, old, iconic marks. We love them. We are big, big fans. And it saddens us to see them split, but that just means we get to support two different people. and that also doubles the amount of merch I can buy. But both options are cool. And as Mad Dog says in the chat, hashtag Peyton Mania.
Yep, I could see that going that way for sure.
Could happen.
100%. I've been talking a lot. I feel like you need to take something.
No, it's all good. Like I said, I really enjoyed the match. I liked the emotion in it because it was.
Yeah.
There was a lot behind it, and it was difficult.
There was a little bit of
watch.
hostility there, but there's still love.
Yeah, like I said, there was anger, there was frustration, but it was all wrapped in love, and friendship, and that was sweet. And I agree with you. I do think Peyton will come out of this bit better, a bit stronger. But I do think there is certainly a spot for the likes of Billie Kay to still have a decent run, separate to Peyton. Just when we get that, who knows? Let me have a quick squiz over here, and let's have a look. What else can we talk about here? All right. So as you mentioned last week, we had the Iconics versus the Riot Squad. This week, the Riot Squad had an interesting setup. So they themselves look to be having a tag title opportunity in the works. They were then given a 2-on-1 handicap match against both Shayna and Nia Jax. So Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. So 2 for 1. I don't understand why. Dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Well, Adam Pearce said, this, because Shayna's like, I don't understand why I'm in a 2-on-1 handicap match. What the hell? So obviously the Riot Squad have to tag out, whereas obviously Shayna and Nia will individually be in the ring. And Adam Pearce said it's because last week, I think Nia Jax said Shayna could easily take on both of the Riot Squad. And he's like, but as champions, I feel like you should get equal opportunity. That's why you're both having this match. And I was like, oh, Nia just dobbed them both in. Shit. So yeah, this led to obviously Shayna and Nia coming out first. And that's how that happened. I'll let you continue. I just totally took.
No, run with it, man. Run with it. Because, the thing for me.
Yeah, okay.
Is, the reasoning was that, Shayna Baszler can take on 2 women. Nia Jax can take on 2 women. Why not support them being a team? They're your tag team champions, and yet you're treating them like they're singles competitors. Like, either you do or you don't.
Though, they're, slapped together singles competitors.
That is very, very true. But they are champions.
That's true.
It should be respected that they have those titles. To me, they're trying to be like, well, these guys are a real team, therefore they can beat you because you guys are not a real team. And that's kind of what it comes down to. And we saw that, with the distractions from Nia, that Shayna took the loss. The distractions from Baszler, Nia took the loss.
Well, not exactly, though, because Retribution were the ones that interrupted the end of the Nia Jax match.
But, Baszler was setting it up. Then it
was definitely set up to be the same way.
Yeah, and then Retribution came in, ding the lights. We'll get to Retribution in just a second. But treat at least show some respect towards your champions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I can. Stop
regardless of their infighting, the discussion should be, you are champions, the 2 of you are champions, and you will act as such. As tag team champions, you will be in each other's corner, and this is what you do.
Mm-hmm.
I
can agree with that. Yeah, and I can agree with that. I think, initially I was okay with it, but now that you've mentioned it, it is a bit like, they're clearly pitting them against each other. It's clearly like somebody will lose. So, it's a bit shit. And the whole Retribution interrupting. I don't even know what they talked about. I wasn't listening. I was just like, okay, Anonymous, calm down.
Yeah, it got a little bit, it demonstrated a little bit more of the political subtext of Retribution, which is fine. I clearly saw Mia Yim on the left-hand side. I clearly saw Chelsea Green on the right-hand side. The guy in the middle looked very much like Damien Dijakovic. Damien Dijakovic. So I may have guessed 3 of the 5. Go me, woo! But there were ones that were sort of heavily rumored to be involved anyway, so it's not really a major surprise. But it's very interesting. It looks so they showed off their new logo, which is just a font.
It looks like a stamp, yeah.
Yep, not a whole lot there. And obviously it didn't do a whole lot to you because you ignored most of it. Oh, yeah. Please don't call them retribution. Yeah. That makes it sound so much worse.
I know. it's anyway, so we had, again, same thing we're seeing over and over. We had a 6-man tag match of the Hurt Business, Bobby Lashley, MVP, and Shelton Benjamin versus Apollo Crews, Cedric Alexander, and Ricochet. However, interestingly enough, so earlier in the night, for some reason, the Hurt Business beat up a janitor because he said hello to them. Ridiculous. Claiming that he said something about Shelton Benjamin's mama. Whatever. Throughout this match, it actually ends up ending quite quickly because somebody who's been swearing that they're not interested in the Hurt Business, Mr. Cedric Alexander, turns on his team, specifically Ricochet, and causes the big ol' L to his team.
The interesting side of this, though, is when we were watching, Craig and I, we were like, this can't be legit. He's working them. He's got plans.
Yeah.
Great minds think alike, because Shelton Benjamin's like, I don't fucking believe you. And I think he had every right. And I still think he has every right.
Yeah. So obviously, like they're obviously applauding Cedric, and he's smiling like, yeah, you know what's up, up, and they're backstage, and like they're like, you ready to make this official VIP lounge? Let's do this. And he's like, yep. And Shelton's like, yeah, look, I don't trust you. Like, hopefully you've changed your mind, and I'm hoping you've changed your mind.
Come to your senses.
Because if you're playing us, come to your senses. Because if you're playing us, I'm going to show you why we're called the Hurt Business. And Cedric's like, don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it. So come VIP lounge. Obviously, they're talking about it with Cedric Alexander. He comes out. They give him the new shirt that says Hurt Business on the front and I'm in on the back. And he's like, yeah. Like, he's wearing black and gold pants as well.
Gross
so he's
shirt,
matching
by the way. Just gross.
Oh, it is. But he's wearing black and gold as well. So he's sort of matching the theme in those black and gold pants that he has. And Shelton Benjamin, again, questions him. And, like, MVP's like, whoa. And, like, Cedric's like, yo, like, I'm sick of being on the business end of a beating every week. He's like, I'm trying to learn and earn. He's like, hanging out with Ricochet and Apollo Crews, I'm not making no money. And he's like, and why am I putting my career on the line for somebody else's championship matches? And I was like, damn right, Cedric, man.
That's right. As they said, being part of a team when your team member is, prides himself on being the one and only.
Yeah, exactly it. Like, 100%. I agree. And this, as they were, as this is going on, the Viking Raiders come storming out with Alexander and Ricochet in tow. And this is how long this show went. I thought this happened on SmackDown. And I was like, what do you mean earlier in the night? And I was like, oh no, wait, this is wrong. So I had a bit of a moment there.
So this adds into a discussion we've had previously, which is, I still cannot care about the Hurt Business. I don't know what it is. Like, Bobby Lashley's interesting. Shelton Benjamin I don't really care for. MVP I don't care for. And I think that's the problem. Like,
and they came out with a new theme too, by the way. Hurt Business now.
Like,
that was fun. So it's a night of new theme songs. Anyway.
I can't do it. I don't know what it is. It can't just be that MVP and Shelton Benjamin are boring. There's got to be more to it. I think that it could be what it is. If MVP is supposed to be pushing this Hurt Business, I can't take him seriously. I can't do it. I can't take it seriously. Bobby Lashley, I can, because I've seen him for a little while. I've seen him be, a big old hurting dude. But like, I'm not feeling it. But like, is the difference that you, Jem, because you have a history with Shelton Benjamin and you've seen what he can do, is that
same with
the difference?
Yeah, I think so. I think because I know the history of Shelton Benjamin, I know the history of MVP, I think that really sort of makes it easier for me to understand. And like, well, I'm not the biggest fan of it. Like, I get it, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, but one thing that was great about this is obviously the Viking Raiders come out with Ricochet and Apollo Crews and just beat the shit out of the Hurt Business, which turns into a 8-man tag match. So we've gone from a 6-man tag match at the start of the night to an 8-man tag match, just adding like 2 extra people.
Just put people in there.
Yeah, exactly.
So in the chat, Jay comments and says that he loves the Hurt Business. Well, Jay, in the chat, let me know why you love the Hurt Business. And I want to see if you can sway me, my friend. I want to see if you can sway me.
We're open to it.
Yeah, I said I originally poo-pooed Bayley, and you heard me before. I praised the living crap out of her. I am willing to have my my opinion altered. I'm willing to alter where I stand.
Now, this match got me real conflicted because at the end of the match, Ricochet does get pinned by Cedric Alexander, and it's a very clear 2. Ricochet definitely kicks out. He does kick out,
but he kicks out after 3.
No, but that's the thing. It does not look like it. I swear to God, that hand came down after his shoulder came.
It's got to be like a 2.98 or something, you know, like it's so close.
Yeah, it looks so damn close, but obviously referee goes. But we do see that the medical staff are out there because it does look like Ivar is injured after being like a dive out on everybody. Fast account, who knows? But it was very questionable. Could it be maybe the Hurt Business paid a referee for the win? Like, who knows? You know, like we had Bill in TCW screwing us over. God like
damn, Bill, you bastard.
Bill.
Jay adds, he goes, I like the chemistry between them, and that I can't argue. I can't argue the chemistry of the team of them as a team. They do work off each other well, and I can't argue at all. And I do think that MVP being with them has elevated the likes of Apollo Crews. It has elevated Shelton Benjamin. Shelton Benjamin was there but not there for the longest time, and now here he is in a BC story on Raw, which is great. I can't argue that, but I still don't feel it. It's not for me, I guess.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. I feel like it's still like Bayley. It's still building. They're still going through their growing pains, and they're learning their niche. And I think it's something that we'll come into.
That's true. Maybe at some point I'll be like, I need that black and gold Hurt Business shirt.
Yeah, exactly. You know, sometimes you just want to be in. You know. Another interesting thing here was another sort of tag match. We did see Asuka and Mickie James face off against Lana and Natalya off the back of last week. So obviously Natty wants a title match, Lana wants a title match, Mickie James wants a title match, and Mickie James has been confirmed to have a match against Asuka the following week. So she will be defending her title against. She will be competing for the title against Asuka the following week.
Now, Mickie James is more your time.
Yes.
How are you feeling about this? How much are you interested in seeing Asuka versus Mickie James?
I'm excited, especially because, like I said last week, like Mickie James, her return was bullshit for somebody who is a 6-time women's champion.
Mm-hmm.
Mickie James is in your Trish and Lita era, like Trish and Lita in the Hall of Fame. What about Mickie? She's still in the ring, you know? So it says a lot about James here. And I'm hyped for it. I think she sure as hell deserves another title match. Like, she's kicking ass, taking names. Like, she showed in this match that she could, she really held her own, and she showed that she came up well enough that Asuka got the Asuka lock on Lana, and Mickie James was able to hold Natalya back while Lana tapped out. So they do get the win. And Asuka, obviously, as always, dancing around and taunting like she does. But I feel like Mickie's earned it. Mickie has worked so hard for so long. I think all she needs is one more title reign, and then, she can finally, say goodbye. She's an amazing wrestler, an amazing competitor, and I'm just I didn't care too much about this match. Although like seeing Lana actually like wrestle the last 2 weeks has been really nice.
Yeah,
going from yelling and screaming in a microphone, being a pain in the ass, to like actually wrestling again has been beautiful.
I do I oddly appreciate, but also I'm like curious as to why they've just failed to acknowledge that she's still married to Bobby Lashley. Apparently, like they just kind of
know
they just kind of went their separate ways, and they're off doing different things, and like this whole pairing
I think
between.
they may be separated. Bobby Lashley's dating MVP now.
That's true. They're clearly banging, so that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, but like, I it's interesting that we've seen Natalya take this interesting turn here, right? Like it's not like that she is in a like a bad spot. She's not doing bad things. She's just under the influence of Lana, and I guess with Lana being a prominent figure on the social media, there's a bit of ego to her, and it looks like a bit of that is rubbing off on Natalya. You know, with the success of them pairing up. Presence. Yeah, a good social media can fuck with you. You know, we would know. We're not very good at it, but you know, could be part of it.
No, it's actually interesting seeing the pair. Like, I think it's a very interesting, like, teaming. I don't mind it. I don't hate it. I don't love it. Like, it's just, it's okay. It's nice to see, like, obviously with people splitting now, like the Iconics, the Sasha and Bayley, it's nice to see other tag teams coming in. So I think it's exactly kind of what's needed at the moment as well. But yeah, it was a good match. Like, I won't deny that. It was a really good match.
Yeah, look, I didn't hate it.
I'm more
I
excited
it.
for next week.
Yeah, look, Mickie versus Asuka should be interesting. I would predict that Mickie does not come out on top, because if the likes of Becky Lynch or whoever, the only person to really take out Asuka is Charlotte Flair, there's no way that Mickey's going to be that one. She's many things, but she's not better than them.
She's exactly right. But I think it's really good to have her in that picture. I think more than anybody, she deserves it. She works.
I would agree. I would agree that she, like, without a doubt, deserves that shot. Whether she can take advantage of that and come out with a win is a different story. But it's a situation if I try to think about, well, who else is Asuka going to take on now? Like, and I have literally nothing. So
yeah, I agree.
We'll see where that goes.
Yeah. So, speaking of legacies and nostalgia, let's have a talk about Dominic versus Murphy.
Yes.
Yes.
So what's interesting here is it was mentioned last week and alluded to, but it looks as if it has happened. Buddy Murphy is no longer he is no longer a disciple for the Monday Night Messiah. He has parted ways, and he is pissed. And he has put that entire blame on the Mysterios. But for that reason...
Dominic specifically.
Yeah. So we've come to learn that the match they had scheduled for tonight has been upgraded to a street fight, because apparently Dominic's entire career is street fights now.
Yeah. Murphy put out the challenge. He really wants to do some damage, apparently. So they're asking, like, Charlie Caruso's in the ring. The whole Mysterio family are there. They're being interviewed. Charlie just asks how you feel about all of this. And Murphy comes on and is like, he should feel bad. He should feel horrible that, my Messiah has turned his back on because of you. And Murphy's like, how about we, you want to come out and attack me early last week? How about we up the stakes in a street fight? And Dom's like, sure. And Dom, Dom was real vicious when he accepted the challenge, which is awesome. It's nice to see him having a bit of bite, seeing. And Murphy's like, make sure you bring your family ringside so I can embarrass you in front of them. Basically, it's like, you touch my family, and I will make sure that this is the last time you ever take a breath in and out. And I was like, whoa, get savage, Dom. And then, come the match, the Mysterios come out. Everybody except Angie are carrying kendo sticks. So they're obviously knowing that Buddy Murphy might attack, so they're keeping themselves armed and defended.
With the street fight there, if that was to go down, they could totally get away with it.
Exactly right, which is what happens at some point. So Murphy's quick off the bell to try and get the offense. He's, throwing Dom around, throws Dom at the announce desk, who almost hits Samoa Joe, and then Dom starts to get the upper hand and throws Murphy over the announce desk, who always hits Samoa Joe. Joe's like, why is he targeting me? I was like, poor Joe. But yeah, like, this was a hell of a bloody match. Like, Dominic and Murphy end up in like the screen backstage area where we saw something happen earlier in the night, which we'll talk about later. But they end up there, and Dominic ends up on the screens and now flying crossbody onto Murphy off the screens. Like, it was badass. Like, this kid is really solidifying himself. It is awesome. But yeah, they end up back in the ring, and Murphy ends up tying Dom in the ropes, like crucifying him essentially.
So similar to what we saw a couple of weeks ago, yeah.
Couple of weeks ago, yeah. And then Murphy goes to go for a kendo stick, which gets stolen out of his hands by Rey Mysterio. And then Murphy's like, fine, you want to play like that? And he like runs under, and he's like looking like he's trying to grab something from under the mat. And at that point, Aaliyah and Angie jump up and they let Dom out of the ropes, and he does this like sliding powerbomb thing. And I don't know when the table.
Beautiful sunset flip. Yeah, it was so good.
Oh yeah, it was vicious and just like demolishes Murphy through that table. Like, it was just beautiful. And like earlier in the night, like Murphy slammed Dom's head down on the metal grate, and I was like, oh, that looked harsh. So they're like no holds barred here. Like, they were vicious. They were street fighting and a half. But eventually Dom gets Murphy back in the ring and ties him up the exact same way and starts attacking him with a kendo stick. And then Rey starts attacking with the kendo stick, and they rip his shirt up like him and Seth did to Dom. And they get Aaliyah and Angie in the ring, and they like Aaliyah's like Rey's like handing Aaliyah's like belting into Murphy while like Rey's like handing Angie the kendo stick, like, come on, get your revenge.
Come on, Mama Mysterio, you can do it, Mama.
Yeah, she's like, no, I'm a lady. And he's like, no, come on, babe. And she's just like, oh, fine. And like all four of them just hammering into Buddy Murphy with these kendo sticks. Obviously, Rey Murphy quits. He's like, I can't do this. I quit. So the match gets ended, and the Mysterios are celebrating, and then they just hammer straight back into Murphy with the kendo sticks again as they go off air. It was awesome. That was just so fucking. I feel terrible for Murphy, but my God, that was so cool. Like, that was a hell of a match.
Just to rub salt in his wound, man. Like, his belief system has been rocked. He's like, you're the ones to blame. Ah! And then gets the shit kicked out by a middle-aged woman, his daughter, and two guys. Like, he has it was like cartel. The example I saw on Twitter was like, it's like cartel shit. They kick the fuck out of someone and then go backstage for lovely family photos. Like, it was brutal.
Yeah, it was absolutely vicious, but my God, it was such a good match. Like, the Seth Dominic Street match was kind of like, meh. But this one was like something else. Like, I've said it time and time again, like, Murphy is a phenomenal wrestler, and I'm shattered he doesn't get more ring time because he's so fucking good. And like, we deserve to see more of that from Murphy. I have a feeling this may bring him back to being Buddy Murphy, and he'll get his. Well, we did see on his screen Buddy Murphy. It wasn't just.
It was the old logo again. Oh shit! I didn't spot that.
It was the old logo again. Yeah,
Ooh.
Yeah. No, his old intro, big old Buddy Murphy on the screen in the blue and purple and stuff. So.
Well, because one thing that was pointed out, like when Craig and I were watching it, where Buddy has seemed to have gained more clothes as time's gone on.
I know.
Like, he originally had his torn shorts, and those torn shorts became pants, and then he got that weird skivvy looking thing going on. So he's got more dressed, which is interesting.
Yeah, it really is. But yeah, it's I'm interested to see what's in the future for Buddy.
Yeah, look, it is very simple. Like, as much as I love the Mysterios getting involved, getting a big old bussin', that does seem like a bit of a full stop on this whole setup. Ideally, although I don't.
The problem is, Rey was taunting Seth in like while everyone was bashing Murphy with kendo sticks. Rey's like, "You like that, Seth? This is gonna happen to you." Yada yada yada. So unfortunately, it's not the end of this yet, but I think it's the end of, like the Messiah's got nobody. The AOP are gone. They're not to be seen again.
Yes, we've come to learn the AOP have been released from WWE,
yeah.
which makes sense because they don't fucking do anything.
Murphy's clearly no longer in the Messiah's picture. Seth has no one now.
Yeah, because Austin Theory got moved back to NXT. Yeah, he's not. What if so? This is going to put a rattle on Seth Rollins. I do think Seth Rollins will kind of put out this demeanor that doesn't mind. He's not bothered by the lack of supporters. Yeah, the God complex. I think he'll believe that he can sustain and continue without that additional support. But I do think we'll see a change. Either I'm not confident that we will see new disciples come into the picture. I think if anything, we'll just see him try be solo and maybe be brought down a peg or two. I hope this is the end to the whole Mysterio and the Rollins thing. I kind of don't think it was, as you said, because he's calling him out. And, Ray will probably still want retribution for his eye being poked out or whatever. But...
and then his torn tricep and stuff, so...
Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting kind of bored with it.
It is starting to wear thin.
I want to see what's next for Dominic. And I think he certainly proved himself. And there was alluded to in an interview that, he essentially is saying that he'll be with Raw for a good while. Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. I need to see him do more. I need to see him do something else. Yeah, because unlike yourself, Jem, who has a long history with the Mysterios, including Dominic, for me it's very recent, and I'm hoping.
I'm in the same page though.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it does lead to that Ray retirement match and maybe a handing of the mask or something. But I don't know when that will be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it is starting to wear thin, and I'm ready for this to move on for sure. Yeah. Things that I'm not ready for to move on though is the whole WWE Championship picture. Yeah. Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre,
and Keith.
Yeah, and Keith. So Randy Orton comes out at the start of the night. This is how our night begins, and he's like, I've jumped through all the hoops, even though I should have just been given a rematch. I've done what I've been told. And yet I still have to face Keithley again tonight. He's going on about how he's fractured Drew McIntyre's jaw 2 weeks ago. And he's like, we don't even know if you, I have this match against you at Clash of Champions where all titles have to be defended, but we don't even know if you can defend. So what you should do is just hand it over. Just give me the title. It's what I deserve. You clearly can't compete. I kicked your face in. And then we hear an ambulance start to ring through the air. And in drives a little ambulance. And out drops Drew McIntyre, just all in black tank top, just looking mighty handsome. And he's out.
That's what you point out of this.
Oh, I have to. I was drooling. I was like, huh?
I do not blame you.
So he comes out McIntyre's on a mission, and he climbs into the ring and just rattles Randy Orton with a massive Claymore kick, and then just proceeds to beat him down a little bit. And you can tell he connected because Randy was bleeding a little bit on the side of his face. His boot definitely got Randy nice and hard. So yeah, as Drew McIntyre ends up backstage, as he's leaving, Adam Pearce is like, "What the hell are you doing? You're not medically cleared to be here. You're risking yourself. You need to leave. You can't be pulling stunts like this." And Drew's like, "Look, I know, I'm sorry." And Drew is like, "We've already got the threat of retribution here. You're not safe here. You need to leave." And he's like, I'm going. I'm sorry. I did what I had to do, and I'm leaving."
And then it's some sort of comedy sketch where you see him later. It's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" He's like, you got me. I was, wasn't my phone.
Adam Pearce was talking to Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, and he's walking back, and Adam's like, "Yo, Drew, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, look, I left my phone in the ambulance. I just went to get the phone, and look, I promise you I'm leaving." And then later on, Charlie Caruso catches Drew McIntyre backstage, and she's like, didn't I hear you telling Adam you were leaving? He's like, oh, look, I was, and I'd hate to disappoint him, but like what happened was I grabbed the wrong phone out of the ambulance, so I had to go back and get my phone, and it's hard to find exits in this place. And Charlie's like, but I heard there's one just over this way, so I'm gonna go that way. I'll talk to you later, and just walks off. It was great. It was so beautifully like executed. So this brings us to Randy Orton versus Keithley. Randy Orton's coming into the ring sulking about his jaw being kicked in. Keithley comes out and Randy does the typical slip out of the ring, try and regain his composure type thing. Just looking to the referee, I can't compete, I'm injured. And the referee's like, the match has already started. You have to compete. And beautiful match. Absolutely beautiful. When Randy wrestles, he wrestles really well. And Keithley put up a hell of a fight. Like, Randy went for the RKO the first time and Keithley just stood there, like hands on his thighs, like halfway over, just like, I'm not going anywhere. And Randy's like looking at Keithley, like shocked as shit, like, oh my God, why isn't he moving? Like the look on his face is priceless as he keeps trying, and Keithley's, nah. It was beautiful. Keithley is just Keith. He is just, oh, that was so good. It was just a whole, like, that whole move of him not going down for the RKO was literally just like, Keith!
Just hold that shit.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
For
like
he is limitless.
He is limitless. You definitely have to watch his match because it was so good. It was
awesome. It was.
But yeah, as this is going on, Randy ends up getting the RKO on Keithley, and as he turns around to pin him, bam, another Claymore out of fucking nowhere. Like Drew McIntyre's just there, foot is in Randy's face, and McIntyre's out again. And Adam Pearce comes out again. He's like, what the fuck? And he's like, look, I promise, I swear I'm leaving this time. I promise you. And Drew walks off and like Adam like sends people down to check on Randy. And then at the end of the night, Randy's like, he's like walking out and sulking and holding his jaw, and he's got his suitcase and stuff and he's limping out. And then bam, again, out of nowhere, Drew McIntyre just attacks him in the backstage interview ring area bit. And like shoving his face against the ring post, like, how do you like that? And like again, just like gets him in this little ring and smacks him with one more Claymore, and just completely like Randy's eyes glaze over like people do when they cop that punt. Like it was beautiful. And he's like, I want you to see me in your nightmares, you son of a bitch. And I was like, oh, Drew, I'll see you in my wet dreams. God damn. I had to.
I love you, Jem. Just saying.
I am a thirsty bitch. I got my water, but it's not doing enough.
It's not enough. Not enough.
It's not enough. My God, this is being set up perfectly, and this is what I want to see. Like, this is literally a blood feud now. It is jaw for jaw at this point, and like it was just beaut.
I'm gonna put it out there, Jem. You know what we haven't seen in a while? An ambulance match.
Ooh, and Randy was carted off in an ambulance this time, and Drew was carted off in an ambulance.
Calling it right now, Bambalance match.
Oh.
Hashtag Bambalance.
Yeah. Well, back lady, Blambalamps.
That's what. That's the. They haven't announced the music for Clash of Champions, but it may be Black Bambalance.
Yeah, Bambalance. That would be amazing, actually. That would.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think it'd be cool because the idea, you know, as you said, it has escalated to a point of just like maiming each other and hurting each other. So shout out to the Mullet Show for really dropping the hint for me of the Bambalance.
Mullet.
Isn't he beautiful? Baskin in his glory.
Everywhere this week. Everybody in the 100%. Everybody in the ambulances this week, man. Like,
and it's that one ambulance that the Fiend rocked up in like 2 weeks, like 3 or 4 weeks. So this one Bambalance is getting a real hard work. But like that's it. They're maiming. They're just hurting each other and care about the win, the loss. They don't care. They're just hurting each other. And I think it's that situation where it will only end in Bambalance.
Yeah. I honestly believe that Drew McIntyre is going to kill the Legend Killer.
Oh shit! Now, if I was Keith, if I was fucking Keith, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, I'd be mad about it because he
well
technically
mad.
lost the match.
Oh well, yeah, by like yeah. It's that weird line, right? Like
By technicality, he loses the match because Drew attacked.
Yeah, so this whole being caught in the middle of this feud thing must be pissing him off. Granted, he's probably friends with Drew McIntyre, but like, come on, man.
He says he is. He's known him for a long time. But yeah, I'd be pissed if I was Keith. Yeah, I'd be pissed too. Maybe, I don't know. He might interject himself again. Who knows? But I'm all for it, whichever way it goes. Like, I want to see more Keith. I'm hanging for this Randy versus Drew. Like, bring it the hell on. Like, this just solidified how much I want to see this. This is the perfect.
I agree. I'm pretty stoked on it. Loving Randy. Loving Bam Lance. Jay in the chat adds he had an interview on the Raw after show where he was pissed off about it.
Yeah.
Raw Talk.
Yeah, Raw Talk. Yeah, he was on Raw Talk. They did announce that. Yeah, I don't blame him. I would be fucking fuming.
Because going in Raw is a podcast. It's a legitimate show. It's with Stephen Larson. It's called Going in Raw. I listen to it frequently. It's very, very good. And the name always makes me chuckle.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so it makes sense. Yeah. He's pissed off. I wonder what that means. Like, it, is... Because I imagine until Clash, they're just going to be at each other's throats. So I wonder, is Keith going to be... it's all good, Jay. Like, I'm wondering whether they're going to be in and around each other, like, up until then, or is Keith going to be like, I ain't fucking touching this until you guys are done, and then I'm going to take on whoever wins.
Yeah. It's hard to say. Like, I'd love to see some subtle interjection leading into something bigger. I'd rather see him sort of sneak his way into the picture as opposed to try and come in hard. Like, obviously Keithley's a big guy. It's what he does. Like, man, he yeeted Adam Cole into the friggin' crowd one time. So like, he is a force to be reckoned with. But I feel like he would benefit in this situation from playing some mind games and slowly weaseling his way into that picture.
I agree. Anything left for us to talk about in Raw, Jem?
No, that's it. That's the main event.
All right. Well, that's as we did with SmackDown, Jem. That's using our not so patented Kurt Angle rating system. How many Kurt Angles do you give this episode of Raw?
Like you were discussing earlier, Raw really doesn't hit the beats as consistently as SmackDown, being a longer show. And you made some good points about Underground and stuff like that. And initially I was all for it, but now that we've sort of discussed it a bit more, I'd probably call it dead center, and I'd probably give it a bar, like a Kurt bar.
I think you're being a little bit generous there, Jem. I think at best it's a Kurt.
I definitely am. Yeah, see, I've got the nostalgia behind it, so I think I've got that little bit of extra, like, oomph. So I will be a little bit more.
And once again, we're not critical here. We rate on how we feel, and you're feeling more positive about Raw this week. I was fine with it. Like,
and I was gonna say, you're newer to the whole wrestling thing as well, so you're seeing things from a different perspective. I say that,
but I've been watching for like 2 years now, so it's not like it's been.
No, but still, like, I've been watching since I was a child. So for us, we have different perspectives in that respect. So there's always going to be differences, and that's what I like about it. Is it's not the same shit from both of us. We get each other thinking, and different perspectives. Like you said, you think like Raw's a 1, I'm 1.5 in it. Like that's. You can't agree on everything. Hey,
that's spot on. And it's so there are some things in here, like obviously the continuation of the Iconics and seeing them go on their singles run is great. The disrespect towards the tag team champion, and treating them as champions, is a big for me. How Underground was cut and how showcasing this highlighted match was really disappointing. Hurt Business just really isn't doing it for me. Like the Street Profit stuff, but the idea of the unification of the tag titles is to me more exciting than probably what they'll actually do. The Mysterio stuff was nice. I really enjoyed seeing Mama Mysterio whack Buddy Murphy with a stick. There was enough there for me to be not hate it, but I was certainly not as engaged as I was for SmackDown.
Yeah, SmackDown was just perfectly solid this week. Like I said to you, I was like, oh, I haven't seen Raw yet, but I'm seeing some gifs and it looks amazing. And I hadn't seen much about SmackDown, but SmackDown really did wow me more than Raw did.
I completely
I was
agree.
expecting Raw to wow me. So, but no, like overall, it was a pretty good week of wrestling in the whole. Like,
yeah, not too bad. Like, because in and around the hole. Because obviously on Monday we had on Sunday we had AEW's All Out as well. Which once again I did watch again with my good friend Craig. Which was a really good show. It was certainly their least best pay-per-view. For a number of reasons. Obviously, Matt Hardy's big injury is a big problem. He knocked himself the fuck out. Yet they somehow had the match continue. FTR are the new tag team champions. I love that. It was brilliant. This setup between this continuation of Paige and Omega is awesome. Poor Hangman, says Jay, and he's spot on. So at the end of the match, Kenny's got what looks like a fucking TV dinner table, and he's ready to whale Paige with it. But he decides against it, throws it away. Adam Page goes to reach for Kenny to help him. He just steps back and he just eats shit, which to me says so much more than if he was to kick the shit out of him. So like he's not like, he literally gave out on a friend reaching out for his help. Beautiful. And like I think it will lead to something a little bit later. Maybe we'll see Hangman get to a point where he's sobering up again and he's feeling better. And then
well, that's what I say. I think it's Kenny drilling in that the only person that can help Adam now is him.
Because Hangman's been kicked out of the Elite. The Young Bucks made the call last on Dynamite. He's out. He is Dunskies. He is on his own. He's a lone ranger, lone cowboy. So that's interesting for me. I enjoyed that a lot. Moxley retained over MJF in a really good match. Cassidy and Jericho had the Mimosa Mayhem match, where Chris Jericho
fell in a pool
got super punched into a paddling pool of mimosa. It was awesome. Yeah, no, it was apart from a couple little hiccups, including the Britt Baker Big Swole cinematic match, which was really disappointing. It was an alright show. The example that I used that you may not understand, Jem, because it's a gaming reference, but if you were to look at AEW like PlayStation's first party studios, right? Like, they deliver banger games, like your God of War, your Uncharted, Horizon, all fucking awesome games. So the AEW deliver nothing but awesome pay-per-views. This one, although still awesome, isn't quite as awesome as the rest, and it still had some issues with it. Think like Days Gone, which is the game, the zombie game that came out. The game was littered with bugs at the start. It was really good by the end, but that first part was a bit buggy and a little bit shit. That's what this pay-per-view was. It had some problems. It was a little bit slow to get going, but once it got going, it finished up really, really well.
You really underestimate how much of a nerd I actually am.
Well, I just don't. I'm
a massive game nerd.
I'm aware, but I don't know how well deep you're into the play. Although, on this channel we have the PlayStation podcast for the players. I'm unsure whether you consume, whether you take in the PlayStation knowledge that Max and I put out into the world. I don't make assumptions. I don't make assumptions.
And the console my first ever console was a PS.
Yeah.
That I bought myself. Primarily I've always been sort of a PC gamer. It handles better for me, but my housemate has been sitting here watching me play Batman on my PS3 for endless nights lately. So it's been great. It's nice. Awesome. It's nice to have company when I'm playing a video game. And she's like, hey, don't forget that. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
Anyways, let's send this on home.
But no, I get the reference.
Yeah, that's good. That's brilliant. So thank you very much for joining me once again, Jem. Thank you, everybody, for joining us at home and in the Twitch chat. This has been our WWE Raw in review. It comes at you every Thursday morning at 8 a.m. on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you want to join the wrestling conversation, you can. Facebook, Twitter, Discord, Instagram, all those links are in the down below area. Come talk to us on the socials. It's we go all right over there, I guess. If you want to support the show as it happens, as we said, head over to twitch.tv/thepopculture, where you can have the likes of Mad Dog, you can have Jay, you can have Craig, you have lots of awesome people who come in and join the chat and contribute to the show as we do it. If you want to support the show, you can by, if you're listening on podcast services, 5-star rating, written review, tell your friends, tell your family about this wrestling pod. If you're watching us on the YouTube, be sure to give it a like, watch the videos, even just leave it running in the background. We'll take it. That's fine. Comment below, subscribe. I will endeavor to answer every single comment that comes our way. If you want to support us financially, you can. Patreon.com/thepopcultures. Our merchandise store, popcultures.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. Now, because thankfully we didn't have a pay-per-view this week, and there's no pay-per-view next week, we will see you next week as we return to talk Raw and SmackDown. But until then, I am Ryan Betson.
And I'm Jem.
And we'll see you then.
Bye.
The Young and the Restless, the Pop Culture's WWE podcast, is fan support over at Patreon at patreon.com/thepopculturist. And we'd like to thank our Patreon producers and our Patreon founders for their kindness, their support, and their generosity. Our Patreon founders: Alpha Ferret, Craig O'Flaherty, David Chataway, Jesse Stevenson, and Jacob Garner. And our Patreon producers: AJ Abatomi, Damian Holdies, Kyle Dunn, Lee Wintershoven, Nathan Massetti, Paul James, Pure Mongrel, and Sean Levitt.